Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Tom Nelson and this is the video series on resolving cholesterol issues naturally. This is part 1 of part 3. Everyone knows that elevated cholesterol is not a good thing and it's linked to heart disease. In fact, it causes heart disease. And just about everyone knows that eating too much saturated animal fat is not a good thing either because it elevates your cholesterol. What they don't know exactly is how it causes that elevated cholesterol. Most know that LDL cholesterol is the bad cholesterol and that HDL is the good cholesterol. At least that's what they're calling it, but it's not really a bad or good cholesterol. But most do not actually know very much more than that about cholesterol, like what it actually is. Does your body really even need it? And if so, why our body does need it. So most take their cholesterol medications and most are on it, and they take it every day and just hope for the best. Some are going to have to take cholesterol medications for their entire life because genetically they're predisposed to actually have their liver produce too much cholesterol. But even they can benefit significantly from this video series. It's important that everyone understands what cholesterol is and how it's managed inside your body. So with basic understanding, you'll discover that cholesterol really can be controlled, and it can be controlled naturally. It's essentially and entirely possible that if you catch this very early, you can nearly total your risk of suffering a heart attack or a stroke completely. It's also entirely possible that the overwhelming majority of those that are taking cholesterol medications will no longer need them, just by following a few simple rules. Cholesterol is both good and bad. At normal levels, it's an essential substance that's needed by your body. It is needed. However, if concentrations in your blood get too high, especially of the LDL type B cholesterol, it can become extremely dangerous and a substance that puts people at risk for heart attacks and strokes. So what is cholesterol? It's basically a fat, a sterol. Cholesterol is found in every single cell of your body, all 37 trillion of them, and it is important for a number of natural functions. It helps your body digest food. It produces hormones. It generates vitamins. And there are 5 types of cholesterol. Most people are not aware of that. The first one is the biggest one and each one gets progressively smaller. It's called chylomicrons, and it is produced from meats and fats that you eat in your diet. Enzymes in your digestive system will break down those fats, and it'll group 3 of them, that's where the tri comes from. So 3 of them will be grouped together and locked together with a glyceride molecule, which forms the triglyceride. And those triglycerides then are going to be picked up by your lymph system, and they're going to be pumped all the way up to your neck and dumped into your bloodstream. There, enzymes in your bloodstream are going to start breaking them down. And they're going to break them down into individual fatty acids, but they'll break them down in what's known as VLDL, which is very low density lipoprotein. And then your HDL is going to mark it, and your liver is going to pick it up, and your liver is going to start breaking it down further into what's called an intermediate density lipoprotein. This is just a step-by-step process of breaking down those triglycerides into what is finally LDL, the low density lipoprotein, the bad news dude. And then of course your liver also produces the HDL, which are the high density lipoproteins. So the primary players are going to be your LDL, low density lipoproteins, which people label as the bad cholesterol, and the HDL, high density lipoproteins, which everyone labels as the good cholesterol. But there are no symptoms if your cholesterol levels are high or if they're too low. And doctors don't coach you or other patients on how to lower your cholesterol levels naturally, or about lifestyle practices that can complicate it. So if your cholesterol is high, regardless of the cause, natural or unnatural, the cholesterol prescription is going to be written and issued to you or everyone else. So why does your body need cholesterol? Why don't we just install a filter in our bloodstream and just filter all of the cholesterol out and just get rid of it and be done with it once and for all? Well, the answer is very simple. Your body does need it. In fact, you would probably die if you didn't have it. Your body is made up, again, of 37 trillion independent little tiny cells. They're 1/10 the diameter of one of the hairs on your head. Every cell in your body operates independent of all of the others. Each cell is protected by a ping pong ball-like membrane that totally surrounds them. It plays a very important role. Besides separating the inside environment from the outside environment, it protects each and every one of those single cells. So cholesterol contributes to the structure of those cell walls. It makes up digestive bile acids in your intestine. It uses ultraviolet light to produce vitamin D. It enables your body to make certain hormones. So your body, again, is made up of 37 trillion individual cells, again, that are 1/10 the diameter of a hair from your head. And if you pull one out and look at it from the end, it actually disappears because it's so very tiny, you can't see it. But yet these are only 1/10 the diameter of that. And there's a space around each and every one of these cells. There's what they call extracellular matrix, which you see over here. There's 3 of them shown here. That extracellular matrix creates a space around each and every one of the cells in your tissues and organs, and it allows that space to be used to supply nutrients to those cells, those little cities. I call them cities because they have a city hall, they have factories, they have power plants, they have trucking companies, they have warehouses, they have waste management companies, and on and on. But that extracellular matrix ties all of those cells together, and it maintains that little bit of space. That if you could walk on that surface, it'd be like walking through a very dense forest. So each one of those little cells, those individual little cities, have tiny blood vessels, which you see at the top, over on the right, and at the bottom. But the one at the top is called the arteriole, and at the upper left, you see that it has little slits in it. And every time your heart pumps, very rich, nutritious plasma is going to flow from those little slits, and it's going to flow all around the outside of that little city. And all of those nutrients are then going to be there so that those little cities can pick them up and take them in and use them. So they need to survive and function. Everything they do need is in that plasma. So then the excess of that is going to be picked up. Once all of those nutrients and oxygen and other things are taken out, then the little capillary blood vessel on the right hand side over there, called the venule, it becomes a vacuum, and that vacuum is caused by your heart pumping, and it will pick up that spent blood, as it's called, and it'll recirculate it and recharge it with all of its nutrients and oxygen and other things, and then that blood will just recycle 25 times every single day. So then each cell that has that membrane that you see that goes all the way around it, that ping pong ball thing that I mentioned, is made up of a very soft, waxy, fat-like substance called lipidic alcohol. And each of those very tiny cities has a massive amount of nutrients that have to pass through that membrane every single day in order to keep those little cities alive and functioning. And when they do get inside, they pass through that membrane, then enzymes are going to modify them and then put them into the warehouse so that they're stored until they're used. And each of those enzymes only has one function. But the amazing thing is that each one of these cities, even though it is so tiny that it's even hard to see under a very powerful microscope, actually has millions of these little enzymes inside, each one doing one specific chore. Every minute of every second, there are 35,000 enzyme reactions that take place on the inside of each and every one of those 37 trillion little cities. So if you do the math, 35,000 enzyme reactions times 37 trillion cells is a mind-boggling large number of enzyme reactions that's going on every second of every minute. Well, that means that in order for those enzymes to have something to work on, that means that something's got to be coming through that membrane, and a lot of it. And so every time something passes through into the inside, or from the inside to the outside, because there are products manufactured in those factories and exported to other cities, and waste products are disposed of through that membrane, that's going to cause a lot of wear and tear on that membrane. And so that membrane is going to take a beating, and it's going to have a lot of damage to its very soft outer shell. And since that membrane is made mostly of fat, it only makes sense that it uses fat to fix it. So, cholesterol is going to provide for that fat. So, all of those 37 trillion cells are going to need cholesterol all through the day and all through the night to repair and maintain those very delicate membranes and to keep them healthy. But cholesterol is also used for other things. It's used to make the sex hormones, and massive amounts of cholesterol is used to make estrogen and testosterone. It's also collects ultraviolet light from your skin, and it converts it into vitamin D, which is extremely important to your health. And cholesterol repairs the damage that occurs every time you eat a meal to the inside of your blood vessels, because for a while after you eat, your blood sugars are going to be elevated, and sugar is very abrasive. Its little crystals have lots of sharp little edges, and they cause damage to your blood vessels for up to 2 hours after you eat. And so those vessel walls have to be repaired constantly. So that's where cholesterol comes in again. That very smooth surface on the inside of the vessels has to be maintained in order for your blood to flow very freely. So where does cholesterol come from? Cholesterol is produced inside every single one of your 37 trillion cells, but really not enough of it to get the job done. Your liver produces most of it. So your liver produces all of the cholesterol that your body needs. You actually don't even need any from your diet. In fact, it can happen in several ways. Some of the cholesterol sources are unexpected. You're going to learn about some of these in part 2 that are going to really surprise you. But here's the problem. Cholesterol is a fat, and fat won't dissolve in water. If you've ever tried to mix fat in water, you can stir as vigorously as you like, and as much as it may appear that it is actually blending, just as soon as you stop stirring, it's going to start to separate, and it's going to accumulate in globs. And your blood system is primarily water. So what's going to keep all of the cholesterol that your liver, which is in the center of your body, and the cholesterol has to be able to get to every corner of your body. How is your liver going to produce all of this cholesterol, put it into the bloodstream, and expect it to get to every corner of your body without separating out into puddles? Well, Mother Nature is ingenious. She invented a solution for this problem. It's called lipoproteins. Lipoproteins are very specialized transporters. They're like hollow balls, or ping pong balls again if you like. They're water soluble on the outside, and they're fat soluble on the inside. So that means that your liver can pack these little balls as full as it can get them with cholesterol, with fat, and then release them into the bloodstream, and that water soluble exterior will mix into the water. It will not separate out, and it will not accumulate anywhere in your body. It'll travel wherever your blood goes, and it will not cause any accumulation anywhere. So the word lipoprotein, it starts with an L. It's the last part of LDL and HDL. The LDL means low density lipoprotein, and HDL means high density lipoprotein. So all 37 trillion of your body's cells are capable of producing those small amounts of cholesterol again, but they can't produce enough. So your liver has to produce the majority of it, and of course some of it can come from your diet, but it is not needed. So now let's go to part 2, and you're going to learn about all of the ways that you have been unknowingly increasing your LDL cholesterol. And then we'll show you in part 3 on how to fix it. So thank you, and please share this information with your friends and your family, because they certainly will be able to use it. Thank you.